What's going on, guys? This is Bobby Douglas. Welcome to another 2021 NBA Draft Prospect full game video breakdown. Today we're going to be taking a look at Baylor guard Jared Butler. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll probably know that Jared Butler is probably my favorite college basketball player in the last 3 years. He won the Douglas Player of the Year that I give out annually for my favorite college basketball player. I love him as a prospect, loved him as a college player. I did a video on him last year, too, which is kind of interesting to see some of these guys that came back to school and now they're improving their draft stock, and obviously we have to reevaluate them this year. So, overall, obviously, we all know his accolades. Big 12, he wasn't Big 12 Player of the Year, but he was Final Four MOP, he's like the Big 12 Scholar Athlete of the Year, like all these accolades that he's gotten during this year at Baylor. So I'm excited to watch this one. And he's going to be number 12 in the white. This game is against Oklahoma State on March 4th. So he's going to have 22 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and then 5 turnovers with 3 steals. So kind of all over the stat sheet, which is good. And we will watch him play right now. So again, against Oklahoma State, I feel like I've been doing so many Baylor-Oklahoma State games on this channel, so I apologize for that. This might be the third one I've done. But you know what? These two teams always played awesome games together. So that's kind of where, that's kind of why I keep landing on some of these games, you see Jared Butler being guarded by number 14 for Oklahoma State right now. I don't think Isaac Likely is playing in this game. So that's kind of like something to note for this game. But other than that, I think everyone else is playing. You'll see Jared Butler start the game off hot with a 3. Again, this is a very kind of important thing about Jared Butler is that he can play both the 1 and the 2, right? And I've seen a lot of people compare. Actually, I'll get to that later. But right here, really nice job moving off of this screen. He's going to set a really good screen on Cade Cunningham, actually. Then he's just going to flare out, float Thamba. Again, 1-2, excellent footwork, and he buries that 3, right? So, again, just being able to shoot off of movement, shoot off the catch, very flexible release, very just flexible player in general. And so I think that kind of bodes well for him, just given the entire, his entire skill set. And especially what the NBA is kind of looking for right now, kind of like having these 2-guard lineups, 3-guard lineups at times, having a lot of guys on the floor at one time that can create for others. And so Jared Butler, I think, is kind of a perfect guard for the modern NBA in a way, Right there, defensive breakdown on Vital. It looks like Butler was weak side, but it's not really on him, I would say. But yeah, he can play on or off ball. Right now you're seeing him play off the ball as Davion Mitchell is the point guard. But then he's going to get a ball screen right here. Let's see what he does here. Again, good pass to Mark Vital. Again, Butler really improved as like a decision maker. Right there, he kind of forces up that shot. But he improved as a decision maker. He improved as a, playmaker for others vitally over the last season. And we'll see what Jared Butler does right here. Again, has the ball on a string. Very good handle. Very deceptive handle. Has a lot of dribble moves in his bag. He can get to spots on the floor right there. Again, really nice footwork. We'll watch this one more time. Again, leads Davion Mitchell to the corner, right? And he's going to flare out right here. And again, the footwork, shooting off of movement, off the catch, whatever you want him to do, he can hit it. He shot, I believe, 41.7% from 3 this year, which is outstanding. Obviously, this entire Baylor team was just phenomenal from beyond the arc. I think they had like 5 players at one point shooting over 40% from 3, which is like ridiculous. And Maceo Teague was like 36%, and he's a really good shooter as well. So, a lot of really, really good shooters on this Baylor team right there. Butler has to take that corner, and then Cade Cunningham makes that pass. Not on Butler because he has to stop the first pass. But yeah, he kind of had to be at 2 places at once right there. And so, yeah, Jared Butler, right now he's probably like in that conversation in the lottery for me right now. I would say he's either going to be 14 or like 15, I would say. So he's right around there. He's kind of battling Jalen Johnson for that last lottery spot. And right now I kind of lean Jared Butler just because I'm not sure how Johnson's game like really develops past like the, being fun in transition and like a good overall, like, one of those types of like transition only players. Right? Right there, Jared Butler a little bit late on this tag. And you're going to see, Baylor's going to kind of like trap Cade out of the ball screen, right? And so this needs to be Jared Butler. He actually rotates over pretty well, just a little bit late. And again, he's not really going to be able to contest that. He's only like 6'2", 6'3", 195. So like that's a good frame for his height. But, in terms of, like, being versatile defensively, that's not really going to be his game just because of that height differential. Right there, Davion Mitchell, nice give and go with Mark Vital for an easy layup. So, yeah, that's probably, like, one of the only negative things I'll say about him defensively is that he can't really guard multiple positions. He's going to be primarily a point of attack guy. I will say he does play bigger than his size suggests, but I think in the NBA that'll kind of diminish. But yeah, I like his overall activity defensively. Really good off ball. Will jump passing lanes. We'll see a lot of times in this game where he just is going to rip the ball out of like Cade Cunningham's hands and force turnovers, things like that. So Jared Butler, very good defender, and Davion Mitchell kind of got all the love in terms of Baylor's defense. Mitchell and Vital, I should say, but Butler was right there too. In terms of like that impact type of defender, very, very solid on that end. See right there. See, we got Mitchell leading the break. Maybe wanted Vital there. We got a carry. Interesting call. And we are back. Again, Jared Butler's on the ball. Right there, got a little bit lost. Jonathan Tchamwa had to run over. Kind of led to that advantage for Oklahoma State right here. So Butler kind of gets turned around a little bit. Like, I don't know what happens here. JTT is just kind of like, Jared, bro, over here, right? And then, so he has to go there. Kind of gets lost on the screen. Tchamwa has to step up, leads to the foul. A rare mistake, I would say, from Jared Butler off the ball. I think overall, rarely misses a rotation. Good activity overall, so I'm not really worried about that. Right there, just a rare mishap. And this was post-COVID shutdown for Baylor, too. And so I'm sure you guys all know, if you guys follow college basketball, you would know that like a big issue with Baylor after they came off of their like 21-day COVID pause is that their defense was just so it was like a shell of what it once was. And so right now they're kind of working through those growing pains before the tournament. Just to put you in that timeline right there, Butler's going to shoot off that screen. Can't get that one to go. But overall, I like that shot from him. I think it's like a very, I think it's a solid overall type of shot that he could get at any time, and then, he could do that in the NBA as well. But, so, like, their defense wasn't that sharp at this point in the season. It kind of got better once the tournament started, and obviously it ultimately didn't matter considering they won the tournament. But we got a charge right there. But just something to note here, if you see some, like, uncharacteristic mistakes, I would say that is probably a contributing reason as to why. Let's see what we got here. Butler on the ball again. And again, it's kind of impressive to have two kind of really solid point guards. You can see Jared Butler right there. Just really, really nice stuff. He can't get that one to go, but just the handle with Jared Butler, he reminds me of like a very talented shortstop, right? Like, I don't know if you guys watch baseball, but like, I'm a Cubs fan, so like Javi Baez, right? He'll play shortstop, second base, whatever, right? But he has this ability to make like amazing plays that maybe like 3% of all infielders could make, right? And then on the other hand, he'll also have some of the most mind-boggling errors, right? And so you see the potential to be so great, and then he's kind of weighted down a little bit by the amount of errors he makes. I think Jared Butler and his handle is similar, okay? Because he has one of the best handles in the class, as we'll see right here. Right, he's going to come, again, really just shakes his defender, right? Can't finish that. But he'll sometimes, like, dribble too high, try and do a little bit too much, and then it'll lead to avoidable turnovers, right? And so I think it's kind of like you got to take, like, the bad with the overarching good, which is, like, one of the better handles in the class. And again, right there, you see kind of the pass gets deflected, and we got 6 on the shot clock. So you got to take the bad, like, the avoidable turnovers, I think, at the moment, with just like the ability to break guys down one-on-one off the dribble, get to his spots, use that handle, and create advantages for his teammates, right? And so it's kind of like this dichotomy. Okay, Jared Butler, really good ball handler, same time maybe does a little bit too much at times, right? And so that's something that he'll probably need to work on. He tends to get a little bit too casual just in terms of like passes and things like that. He'll throw really like kind of like hospital balls, right? Where it's like you're just setting your teammate up to get like hit, or like the pass will get intercepted, things like that. And so he needs to work on that, just making sure every single pass is like has good pace and everything. But I think the good with Jared Butler outshines the bad for the majority of the game, I would say. Mark Vital is going to get that one to go in. And we got Oklahoma State's trying to push. And we got Butler. It's kind of like on that weak side perimeter. Now he's one pass away. Now 2 passes away. That is a crazy layup. Who the hell is that? Who is that? Damn, that was a good layup. Avery Anderson. Okay. And so again, we got a foul, foul. Carry again. I think Davion Mitchell turned it over again. I want to make sure when Jared Butler's. I think he's still in, so we're good. Yeah. So again, right there, similar thing. Like Baylor's ball screen defense, especially towards this end of the regular season, wasn't great. You'll see right here, Butler kind of get tripped up on the screen. Chamo Chachua has to hedge over, right? Nobody's there to tag. This should be Flagler, right? And it just kind of leads to a wide open dunk. Just kind of the communication as a whole for Baylor was just, it took a while for them to get back into, game shape, I would say. But that's just something to note. In the second half, or actually no, it might be later in the first half, Butler does a really good job on some of these defensive possessions, I would say. And you can see right now the appeal of Jared Butler, right? No Davion Mitchell on the floor. And this is your secondary point guard, right? Like just throwing an absolute dime of a lob to Chamo Chachua, right? Again, coming off the ball screen, right? And he really improved in this regard, like kind of creating for others, right? I think he only averaged like 3 assists a game last year. And this year he was close to, I think, 5. And so he always has had that passing vision, but just more of like an issue of just trying to like cultivate that into consistently positive results. And you're going to see right here, this lob is perfect placement. It's like a quarterback, right? Again, Jonathan Chamo Chachua, one of the better lob threats in college basketball. And Jared Butler is able to find him for the easy dunk. And so you're seeing a lot of point guard skills in Jared Butler where a lot of guys would not prefer, but a lot of guys see him more of like an off-ball guard. And like personally, like I can see both, and that's kind of adds to the appeal for me. And so it's just kind of an interesting kind of like discussion on where should he play, things like that. I've seen a lot of comparisons. He's going to be out for a little bit right here, so I'll skip ahead. But I've seen a lot of comparisons to Emmanuel Quickley from Kentucky and now the New York Knicks. I can kind of see that in a vacuum, just because they're both like kind of like undersized, probably more likely to play off ball in the NBA, maybe. But I think comparing Jared Butler to Emmanuel Quickley drastically undersells his playmaking ability. Quickley coming out, like you got to remember, he was supposed to be a point guard at Kentucky, right? But he wasn't really able to kind of run that offense. It ended up being like Ashton Hagen's role as a starting point. Jared Butler, I think he's shown that he can kind of run a team from the point guard spot, right? He can get players into their offense, things like that. Quickley was pretty much always off the ball for Kentucky, and I think Jared Butler, like if you're talking more about a combo guard type, I think Jared Butler showed a lot more potential as a combo guard than Quickley did. And obviously, I errantly had Quickley way too low. I think I had him in the 50s. Last draft cycle, so that's on me. Like he's definitely better than 50, probably top 15 right now. And so yeah, that's on me. But that's kind of just where I'm at with Butler. I think he's a better prospect than Emmanuel Quickley was coming out. I think he'll probably have a better NBA career than Quickley, even though Quickley's been awesome his rookie year. Right here, you can see Jared Butler taking this charge. Not afraid of contact, but he does struggle to finish through contact, which I think is an important distinction to make, because a lot of guys, we say, struggles finishing through contact, and it's not really about like the contact. It's more just about like the fear of being hit. Jared Butler doesn't really have that, and so I think that's important to note as well. Like he's not he's not afraid of contact, as we see right there. He takes that charge from the weak side. He just kind of struggles because he's only 6'3", not an exceptional vertical athlete, and so it's hard for him to finish at the rim. But I do think he has a pretty good float game to kind of combat that. This is a Javi Baez error right here. We'll see it again. He tries to split this ball screen. He just can't really find the gap. Again, so like right there. And again, I like the craft that he kind of shows, but again, it just leads to a turnover. I think Oklahoma State's going to get a timeout. Yeah, Cade called it. So yeah, those are the types of plays where you're just kind of like, you could really do without those. But yeah, you're going to take the good with the bad, I would say. We got Butler still in. He's in the corner right now. We got Jonathan Chama. Oh, we got travel. Oh, that's stupid. And here we go. We should be back in now. And we'll see what they do. So, again, they have Jonathan Chama on Cade Cunningham, and I think he's doing a pretty good job on Cade. I think Chama, by the way, is going to be, like, not a first-round pick in 2022, but, like, a high-end second-round pick. I really like his game. That's something to note. We got Baylor here. Again, Butler kind of leading the break. Not much going on. Matt Meyer is can't get anything there. Oh, there we go, yeah. Good play from Meyer and Flagler. You can see Jared Butler kind of battling in the post right now. And this is what I mean, where it's like he's not afraid to play bigger than his size, and obviously this is a horrible pass, and Butler's just going to pick this off. And again, he has good off-ball activity, right? Really locked in defensively, and so that's something that really improved from last year too. And again, you can kind of see, it's kind of cool, you can see the improvement as he's not able to knock that one down, but again, like the form's there, everything's good. Feeder square, just rims out. But it is kind of cool because I think this is the first double breakdown I've done, right? Because this is the first one where I had him as a first rounder in 2020, and then he comes back to Baylor, and now this is my second time breaking Jared Butler down. And obviously, I couldn't really ask for a better player to break down more than once. I love watching Jared Butler play. Another guy like that, who I probably will get done in the coming days, is Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois. Last year, I really liked him coming out too. He decides to go back to Illinois. Obviously, that team was really good. Ultimately, lost to Loyola Chicago, but Ayo is going to be another guy. He'll be a first rounder for me, and just another guy that we will be double dipping in terms of these breakdowns. So I think it's kind of interesting to see. Like these guys develop year over year. We got a missed jump hook. And again, so now you can see Baylor's going 3 guards. Matt Meyer's basically a guard, so that's 4 guards. But they'll go small. They can afford to. Meyer can't get that one to go. Vital with the offensive rebound. Kick it to Mitchell. Butler, good shot fake. Let's see what he does. That was a decent pass. Vital just can't get it to go. And again, the vision's there. Maybe he tries to force that into too tight of a window. But again, you can see kind of just like the explosive, not the explosive handle, but just like the deceptive handle, right? So like right here, shot fake, totally puts that guy on skates. It's not super quick. He's more shifty. But again, we talked about this before a little bit too, where overall speed isn't as important as change of speed, right? If you can deceive your opponents, switch up your pace, switch up your tempo, it becomes a lot easier to break guys down off the dribble. Like we see the best players in the NBA have that change of pace, right? Like I look at the James Hardens, the Luka Doncic's, right? All those guys, even Devin Booker to an extent, right? Jared Butler has that sort of change of direction, change of pace, in his game, which I think is really important for him to have. Considering he's not the best overall athlete, right? We see Matt Meyer, good finish from Meyer right there. We got a timeout, no? I think, yeah, Butler's going to be out right here for about 3 minutes, so I'll skip ahead. 21:56. And here we go. So again, final 5:46 in this first half. Looks like Butler's guarding Avery Anderson. And again, he's one pass away right here. Let's see what he does here. Not much going his direction. Easy layup for Oklahoma State. And so again, he finishes this game with 22 points. He's been kind of quiet since those first 2 threes he hit. But he'll get going, I assume. Matt Meyer's going to miss that 3. We got right there, Jared Butler probably playing a little bit too far into the passing lane. Could have created an advantage for Oklahoma State, but they didn't. They couldn't capitalize on it. Looks like we got a charge on Oklahoma State. But right there, Butler may be a little bit too ambitious trying to jump a passing lane, even though I do like that aspect of his game very much. We got Davion right here. Let's see, is Vital going to set another ball screen? No. Let's see what we got. Okay, so Jared Butler's going to kind of come off this double pin down into a ball screen. Mitchell's going to rise and fight. That is just, I mean, I don't know. That's like that's very good. So right there, going to switch the ball screen. So Butler's kind of guarding a bigger player right now, and looks like we got a foul. Not an and one, but you can kind of see him. There was definitely a mismatch in that post right there, and so again, this kind of just goes to speak, like, obviously, it kind of should go without saying, but just like kind of to emphasize it, like, you're 6'2", 6'3", you're not going to be the most versatile guy in the world defensively, and that's just kind of something that you're going to have to deal with as a player throughout your entire career. I think Butler does a good job playing bigger than his size, but I said earlier that might diminish as he gets to the NBA as the guys get, bigger. So I think that's something to watch. But overall, I do like his activity defensively. I think he won't be a negative on that end by any stretch. You know what I mean? He'll give you good point of attack defense. He'll give you, a guy who can be disruptive and make plays on that end as well. Jared Butler putting guys in the spin cycle right here. And again, this is where like he'll have so many plays where you're just kind of like shaking your head because it looks so it's like so beautiful that you want to cry almost, right? And again, right here, just kind of the handle, the ball's on a string, right? I think he spins, does whatever. Let's watch it again. Gonna get this ball screen right behind the back, spin, easy layup. That's awesome stuff from Jared Butler. And then look at that effort right there. He's gonna force the tie up on the lazy pass from Avery Anderson, right? And he gets that jump ball, right? Like again, like the heart he plays with, like the fight, he hustles, and then he obviously has that skill and that craft as a point guard and a ball handler to really make a difference. I really like that sequence from Jared Butler right there. You can see 2.2 steals a game led the Big 12. I don't know if it ended up leading the Big 12, but I'm guessing at that late in the season, it probably did. We see Mark, I think that was Maceo T kind of getting his hand on the ball. I can actually look at the averages right now. He averaged 2 steals a game, so went down a little bit from now, but definitely a solid defender. And again, he's like an opportunistic defender as well, right? He'll see weaknesses in the offense, and then he'll exploit those, and then that leads to him forcing turnovers, getting his hands on loose balls, getting deflections, forcing tie-ups, as we saw on that last possession, right? And so that's just something to, I think, is very, very underrated, I would say, about Jared Butler, just because in terms of like media coverage, like you didn't really hear Jared Butler in terms of like being like Big 12 all defense, right? It was more Davion Mitchell and Mark Vital, but Jared Butler was still a very, very good defender. We see right here kind of manipulating that ball screen, looking for that dive, and again, right there, I think this might have gotten deflected. We'll see this again. But again, he's looking for Flo Thamba on the roll. This guy does a really nice job tagging him, so that's not open. And then I think he's going to try and get it to Mitchell. Yeah, like right there, that didn't get deflected. And this is what I mean where it's like the casual passes, right? Like, what kind of that didn't get deflected at all. That's just like a kind of like a lob, I don't know what that was, right? And so those are the types of plays where you're just kind of like, you're shaking your head just thinking like, those are so avoidable, right? Which is a good news in one sense because they're avoidable, so he can get rid of that in his game. But on the other hand, you're just kind of like, why is he doing this so often? But I will say, though, with Jared Butler, the good thing about him, and this kind of speaks to like a wider philosophy, right there, we're going to get a foul. I don't know how. This kind of speaks to a wider philosophy about just prospects in general. The bad stuff about Jared Butler is things that he should stop doing rather than things he needs to add to his game, right? Whereas I think that's a lot better of a situation to have than somebody who it's like, you need to add things to your game, if that makes sense, right? Jared Butler, I think it's easier to add by subtraction than it is to add by addition, if that makes sense, right? Like, I'll just do Jalen Johnson because I mentioned him earlier, right? I think Jared Butler's in a better situation developmentally because he doesn't really have to add anything to his game. He has to reduce the amount of turnovers. He has to, things like that. Jalen Johnson has to add more shooting. He has to add half-court playmaking, right? I think it's easier to reduce bad things than it is to add good things. And so I think with guys like Jared Butler, he doesn't really have any big holes in his game that he can control, right? Obviously, he's not the best athlete. Obviously, not the most versatile defender. But as I say not the best athlete, he's just going to rise up and dunk on me. What? Again, I think he maybe had 3 dunks in his career at Baylor. Like, he got up right there. That's a pretty good dunk for him. But again, that's not really part of his game. But I hope you guys understand what I mean, where it's like, it's so much easier to, yeah, you can see everyone's, Matt Myers hugging Jared Butler. Everyone's just, let's see if they replay that. I want to see if they replay that dunk. Yeah, they will. Again, right here. Again, really nice job just getting around his defender. And again, rising and, like, you watch those plays and you're kind of just like, why can't Jared Butler be an all-star? You know what I mean? Like, I might have, like, national championship goggles on right now because, like, you know, Baylor was my team all year and everything like that. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting. But, like, I'm really high on Jared Butler. But again, I hope that point kind of makes sense where it's like, it's easier to reduce the bad things in a prospect than it is to add the good things, right? And with Jared Butler, I think he has pretty much everything in his bag that he'll need in the NBA. And so I think it'll be a pretty quick adjustment, assuming he can kind of just like limit the turnovers, limit the casual passes, things like that. As opposed to guys like Jalen Johnson. You can see Jared Butler right there. Again, just swarming. I think this is Caleb Boone, right? Again, he's just going to get that jump ball and just rip it out of his hands right now. He's leading the break. Let's see what he does here again. And then this is just kind of like, you know, one of those things where you're just kind of like frustrating, right? Really good play on the defensive end, and I think he's going to double dribble right here. Yeah, you can see he kind of grabs the ball with 2 hands right there. Should be a 2-on-1 opportunity for a layup, but unfortunately there's a turnover. But I think he is actually out for the remainder of the half, so I'll pause this first half video right here. So yeah, that's Jared Butler for the first half. I think he had a very fun and exciting first half. You know, I love watching him, so I'm going to be a little bit more enthusiastic for this video than I am for some of the other ones, maybe. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all soon for part 2. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye.